Derek, when I look at our culture today, and I look at the church today, the evangelical world especially, I think it's fair to say that there's definitely been some progress that's been made on the racial fronts in our culture at large, and then even in the evangelical world. I mean, we could look at the abolishment of slavery. We could look at the civil rights movement, the election of Barack Obama, lots of different things that have happened that certainly progress has been made. At the same time, certainly there's much more progress to be made. I suspect and I sense that in this culture today, in the evangelical world, there's a growing number, a groundswell, if you will, of evangelicals that are maybe burdened by this problem in a very special way, where it hasn't been before, but there's a growing number of us that really care about this and really want to do something about it. I also suspect that there's probably a lot of naivety on our parts about what exactly it's going to take and what the obstacles will be and the tasks to be done. Yeah. So having said all that, let me ask you first of all, do you sense the same thing? Do you sense that there really is sort of this new opportunity, a groundswell of hope and optimism and desire to see something done about this?
I absolutely do. In fact, I've been in conversation with several friends where we are talking about the voice the evangelical church has, how pivotal that voice is, not to kind of take this mantle by themselves, but to be a very significant player in this conversation, significant element in really advancing forward this issue of race in this contemporary space. I mean, this contemporary space is complex, right? We've sanitized the public discourse around race. And in sanitizing it, sometimes we lose sight of the fact that what's bubbling under the surface are still racial tensions that keep us separated. I believe that the evangelical church has at this moment, in this space, in this time, an opportunity to advance us on issues of race more than we've ever thought in any other time. I believe, and I'm encouraged by different factions of the evangelical church, whether it be leaders, lay ministers, or what have you, who are working together and really being offering more public responses to these issues. And that's where it starts. Folks need to come out of the silos and really disclose the wrong that they're seeing, even if it's subtle. And I think what that ultimately does is it means that those who decry that something is going wrong are not viewed as, oh, there's someone who's a race baiter, or he's just pulling out the race card. That no, we can acknowledge that while things have progressed, thank God they have, but we can also acknowledge that things aren't where we need to be, and the disparities between the least of these and those who have more is growing. And so how do we engage in a dialogue around those disparities and really attack issues that are still prevalent in the Christian community? Evangelicals have a big role in that, and I'm very confident and hopeful that they will take up the mantle and push that forward.
What do you see some of the particular challenges as being some obstacles? Because you mentioned the tensions, and I think that's right. We're, politically speaking, it's very difficult today to have conversations. Everything looks nice on the surface, but then there still are tensions, and we want to do something about that. But it though hopeful, also strikes me as the kind of situation where it'd be easy to fumble as well. So what are the challenges there that we have to make sure we keep our eye on and avoid?
We are in an era where we get sound bites and we get a whole lot of media stuff. We've got the social media issue, and I don't want to sound like the old guy railing against social media, because of course I use it. But what that does not allow us to do is have this, have exchange. It's easy to speak out against Fox News from one side and MSNBC, for example, on another. I use those examples because I hear students and folks all the time rail against each other just around those two news outlets. And yet, we never, or we fail to realize that coming together in this space dismantles a lot of that issue, a lot of those issues, those tensions. Now, tensions still may prevail, but having a more intimate exchange allows us to ask questions, to listen, if we're keen to do so, and to try to come up with ways of finding common ground. And when we think about common ground, we all pretty much want very similar things. And if we want those similar things and it's merely an issue of going about them differently, maybe we can learn from each other in terms of how to position ourselves to get what we want without putting down the other in the process. I think the church, again, has a very critical role in that. And leaders in the church need to engage